My friends, I am being stalked by a trucking company. Yeah, one of those real dangerous ones too. One of those Chicagoland carriers where if you talk about them, they might find your body face down on Fuel Island the next day because you were talking when you shouldn't have been. And we're going to talk about that. Superego Trucking. Anybody ever heard of them? I bet you have. I bet you have. But anyways, God, we're going to talk about that. But how are you guys doing tonight? I hope you're doing well out there. I am just about getting ready to get started for yet another overnight run. I am putting some serious consideration into switching to our dry van division because I don't want to say reefer is too hard, but maybe I'm getting too old because these like overnight runs, these 3 a.m. deliveries, all these things are really starting to screw with me. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Should I just switch over to the dry van division? It pays a little less. I don't know how much less. That would have been valuable information to give you guys if I was going to have you help me make decisions, right? But it does pay a little bit less, and it's not to say that we're never going to have some crazy schedules. But this might be getting to be a little bit too much for me. I've been out for 8 days now, I think. 8 days since I've left the house. And 3 of those have been overnight runs already. And that's just too many. I don't mind switching my schedule around, but that's just too many. Put it in the comments. Should I just switch over to dry van, take a little bit of a pay cut, but have a more normal schedule? Less time waiting on docks in theory, which I should be able to make up the miles there. Let me know what you think, and we'll discuss that. So anyways, Superego, Chicago area based trucking company that offers on paper one of the best lease purchase deals in the country. Now notice I just said on paper because somebody's head just exploded. They're like, Josh, that's not a good lease purchase deal. Let's talk about it. On paper, that is one of the best lease purchase deals out there. They are offering you a truck and a trailer, and they're giving you 88% of the load. Now, all of that sounds really, really good because a lot of places that are doing percentage, you'll see like 70%, 72, 75. Sometimes you'll get up there around 80, but they are offering 88%. Now, there might be some companies out there that are matching that I'm not really aware of, but let's say there's not. Let's just say there's not for some reason. I don't know why we're saying that, but 88% would be the hottest deal going in lease purchase trucking, right? Now, what we need to know about Superego, as far as I understand, I just dropped my vape and it fell on the floor. As far as I understand, they run off the spot market. I don't know them to have any contract freight, any drop and, well, how could it be drop and hook if you're leasing a trailer? Are you leasing just any trailer? This was maybe a question I should have looked up, I guess. But I don't believe they have any contract freight, which means it's all going to be all live load, live unload. Because if you're leasing a trailer that you intend to buy at the end, I think you would want to have the same trailer for the entire time. So you know that trailer front and back, everything that's wrong with it, right? So I would think probably all live load, live unload. So with that in mind, I think it would be safe to say that they operate entirely on the spot market, all right? Now, I'm going to break down some of these terms a little bit as we go through this video because what's happening, the reason I wanted to make this video is because you see a lot of new truckers fresh out of CDL school or what have you. I don't know the requirements necessarily for Superego, but they kind of a little bit are preying on the inexperience of a lot of people out there. And you see a lot of people go to Superego because they see this good deal, and it always ends the same with them on YouTube going, Superego, fuck me, I ain't making no money, all these things. It always goes exactly the same way. So I said I was going to break down some of the terms. I just said spot market. That's what they normally operate off of as far as I can tell. And the spot market is basically the overflow board. Any loads that couldn't be covered by the mega carriers that would have normally been their load goes out into the open market for people to bid on that load to go haul it, right? That's normally how they get there. There may be some exceptions to how a load ends up on the load board, but that is generally how it gets done. This is why so many people are adamantly opposed to the mega carriers, the big trucking companies, because they effectively, obviously, kill off the owner-operator, which, I mean, I'm in no room to speak right now. I work for a fairly large company. I don't know if they're mega status or not. But the spot market is pretty terrible right now. There's not a lot of money being made in the spot market. I remember there was a time during COVID. Weren't we fucking crushing it during COVID, guys? You remember that? Oh my God. I think that was bad for a lot of us, honestly. I mean, we were all making a lot of money, but what happened was exactly what the old timers told us was going to happen. A bunch of us dipshits were going to go buy trucks and think that we were always going to make $10,000 a week. Guess what? We stopped making $10,000 a week, and we fucking deserved it, I guess, for not paying attention. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Maybe that's a whole different video. But anyways, so Superego's operating solely off the spot market. We've already covered that, right? And they're offering 88% of the load. And I first found out about Superego because I too was looking for a lease purchase. That was around the time that the International that I owned was completely going to hell, and I ran out of money to keep fixing the fucking thing. So I needed to figure out what my next move was, and there really was no good move when you're going from truck ownership to fuck, man, I guess I can't afford to keep my truck anymore. There's not a whole lot of really good decisions, but I was definitely trying to find what the next move was going to be when I found this company, Superego. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and apply for that to them because 88% is a really good fucking deal. And that, unfortunately, is the first thing that we see when we're looking at those things. And for anybody that, how do you say this? A lot of newer, younger truck drivers fall for it, and it's not their fault. Let me pick my vape up. This is really bothering me with it just laying on the floor like that. I went and got it, and now I think I'll have a hit. So anyways, maybe there should, I don't know if there should be like regulation that makes companies be honest with people. I'm not sure how all of that would go about, but what you need to understand as a younger trucker especially, there is a lot of fucking deception in trucking. Now, I think a lot of trucking companies have really cleaned up from maybe the old days, but my understanding was, you know, probably before I was into trucking, a lot of trucking companies were some lying ass motherfuckers. Now they don't really get away with it too much as far as being a company driver. You know, this is what you get paid, this, and go run your miles. Fuck, that's easy enough, right? Pretty straightforward. When you start to get into more of the deceptive practices of the trucking industry is when you start to look towards those lease purchases. That's not to say that all of them are dishonest. Mine's very straightforward. I get paid for the work I do, and that's that. It's a pretty straightforward lease purchase. But there are some out there that are not. And it is my belief that this one is not a very honest lease purchase. So I went and I filled out the application online, and I just wanted to get someone on the phone to kind of get a feel for what they're doing over there, what's going on over at Superego. So I filled in the application, and within 5 minutes they called me, which isn't entirely unusual in trucking. It's a little bit slower right now. You might wait a couple days to hear back from a company, which is, it used to be that seriously you put an application and your phone was ringing, and that'll come back. The market will come back. We're just kind of waiting for a lot of the COVID people that came into the industry to get washed out, and maybe that sounds like a cold, heartless thing for me to say, But we need people to leave the industry, straight up. We need people to run out of money and go off and do something else. Maybe we need a better economy that offers people other options besides trucking to go into before we're going to finally start to live our best life out here on the road again. But I'll be honest with you, I kind of forgot what I was saying. Oh, they called me back immediately. Okay, cool. And I start talking to the lady, and the first thing I was curious about was like, what are my truck options, right? And she said, whatever truck you want. And I was like, no, what do you have there that I can pick from? And she's like, oh, we got all the trucks. Well, they don't, but I mean, they do have a pretty good selection, I suppose. You've got your Kenworths. I've seen them with some Kenworths, quite a few Kenworths out here. I believe I've seen them out here with some Peterbilts, definitely Freightliners. I haven't seen any Lone Stars. Do they have a Lone Star? Because I don't mind a fucking Lone Star. I might want one of those. Matter of fact, no, I'm gonna leave that out. I got to get my shit together. My head is all over the place. Here's what I was going to say. I'll tell you what I was going to say. If you guys know of any lease purchase company that's got Lone Stars, let me know. Don't let me know. I need to fucking focus. I need to pay attention to what's next. If you guys have been following along with the channel, my next goal is to purchase a truck again. I need laser fucking focus. So don't tell me about no lease purchase with a Lone Star. But that was a little bit like maybe this lady just doesn't know much about trucks, and I suppose that's fucking okay. Then I asked her about the 88%. So you're saying that I get 88% of the load? And she's like, hell yeah, 88% of the load, you get it. And I was like, okay. Here's the big question that no one asked, right? And I don't know if this, let me be clear, I don't know if this is the policy of Superego or if the lady didn't understand the question, okay? Because those can be two different things. And there's going to be someone in the comments that's like, I really love Superego, you piece of shit. Hey, if you work at Superego and you like it and it's providing the lifestyle, the living that you want to make, that's your fucking business. I'm not here to tell you to hate your trucking company. It's weird. We live in a weird fucking world right now where people get offended if you talk about their trucking company. That's fucking strange. That's really bizarre. But if you like it there, you like it. Here's what I asked her, and maybe she didn't understand the question. I said, so am I booking the loads? And she said, no, we go on the load board and we find the load and we book it for you. I said, can I book the load? And she says, we got dispatchers that handle that, and they'll just tell you what the load is and what it pays. And I said, okay, so you guys have dispatchers. You're going out to the load board. It seems like they're really cutting into their profit at that point by they're giving me 88% of the load, and they got a dispatcher. They should cut out that dispatcher, right? Give me an email address so that I can have a rate con sent over to that once I've talked to a broker, and you can just cut that dispatcher out. Make me earn that extra 8% or whatever extra percentage I'm getting. In some cases, an extra 18%, you know. Make me earn that. And I didn't really like that necessarily because with a company that's operating solely off the spot market, why dispatch? Why? Why not have the drivers dispatch themselves? It's the fucking spot market. Now, if you've got a company that's got a bunch of contracted freight, then yeah, you probably should have dispatchers. But who gives a fuck in a company running off the spot market? Why are you dispatching? And to me, this felt very suspicious. It didn't make sense to me. Why the fuck are you dispatching? So I said, okay, you go out, you get the load, you send it over to me, you tell me how much it pays. When you tell me how much it pays, are you sending me the rate con from the broker? And she goes, no, but we'll send you how much it's paying. Okay, this is a huge fucking red flag, guys. And let me be clear once again, maybe she just didn't understand the question. For anybody that's not familiar with the term I just used, rate con, that is what you get from the broker. Once you've called the broker, you know, they ask for your MC number, they pull you up in the computer, make sure you don't have too many freight guard issues, things like that. Whatever they need to do, just verify your information. And then, let's say they got a load paying $2,000, right? And you're like, yeah, I'm calling about that load, picking up here, going there. You guys got it listed at $2,000. Broker goes, hell yeah, got your information up in front of me. What can I do for you? And you say something crazy like, I'll do that load for $2,500. And he goes, I probably can't do $2,500. This is all fantasy numbers, because now in this current market, you're probably negotiating over pennies. So like now it's probably like the guy's got the load listed for $2,000, and you call him and go, I'll do it for $2,000.75. And he goes, I can't do it for any more than $2,000.09. Is that going to work for you? And you go, yeah, that's going to work for me. But when I was running the spot market, it depended on the load, but if it's a $2,000 load, I would say, can I get another 500? You know, hey, 2,500, I'll book it. Most of the time they told me no, because I found out that you're really only negotiating a couple $100 really. So 2,500, are you crazy? $2,200, and you can have that load. Okay, 2,200, book it for me. And that's when you get in your inbox, your email, a rate con or a rate confirmation that tells you all about the load and the price listed, the price you agreed on. I don't know that it's, I believe it's, if it's not a legal contract, it's probably pretty close. It might actually be a contract. Yes, actually, as I say it out loud, the rate confirmation is your contract. That is the price you agreed on, and you go and do that. Now, Superego saying, this is what they told me. They said, we will tell you how much it pays. Well, that's a massive fucking red flag. I want the rate confirmation sent to me so I can see it. And she said, nope. Okay, there's a problem here, folks. There's a problem here. That is not the answer that you should be hearing. So, I said, thank you very much. I'll consider it, and I'll call you back, right? And what I never did was call them back. I never ever called Superego back after that. I started watching some YouTube videos, and you have to take what you hear on YouTube with a grain of salt, because trucking has a very high turnover rate, maybe less so these days with the, you know, people kind of being worried about the economy and things like that. You're probably seeing people stick with it a little bit longer, but within the first year, most people don't make it as an over-the-road truck driver. They go home, they get a local job, or they just go into a completely different industry. So when you're watching a YouTube video, you have to understand that a lot of times, not every time, a lot of times you're listening to a person that has not been in the trucking industry for very long. But nonetheless, I went and I started watching YouTube videos on Superego and what a lot of people were saying. Now, a funny thing came up is, if I remember correctly, in every Superego video I've ever watched, I have never ever heard one of their drivers even say the word rate con. Not one time. What I'm trying to say is a lot of people that don't understand the trucking industry are going over to Superego and going broke, and then getting on YouTube and going, this fucking company fucked me over. Right, because what happens is you see like, oh, I just got this load booked for, let's say $2,000 again, and that load's gonna take me, I don't know current rates right now, guys, so I could be off a little bit off on this, and you're like, it's gonna take me 2 to 3 days to get that load done. You can't make $2,000 in any other job in 2 to 3 days. Fuck yeah, I'm making so much goddamn money, right? And you've still got fucking 4 to 5 days of the week left to keep making money. Oh my God. And you go, I just made $5,000 this week. Can you believe it? $5,000 fucking dollars. And then the settlement, you're waiting, right? You're waiting for the settlement to hit your bank. And when it hits your bank, it's $700. And you're like, what the fuck just happened, right? So Superego tends to attract a lot of people that are not familiar to the industry. Consider this video a public service to you guys. Me saying something is fucked up over there. Something is not adding up, and it's the rate cons. They're not sending them. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. But I never called them back. And this is kind of where we get to the whole point of the video. For the last 3 years, almost every day, my phone rings from a Chicago-based phone number, and they always leave me a message, whoever they are, from Superego, calling me to tell me about their next great deal. We're still offering 88% of load with the truck and the trailer. And if they could just answer one simple question: do I see the rate con? I don't want any, here's what I want. When you call that broker and you book that load, they're gonna ask for which email address to send that rate con to. Okay? I need them to send it to 2 email addresses. One to you over there at Superego. You can have that rate con. But the other email address better be mine. I want to see that rate con straight from the broker. I do not want it emailed to me from Superego. I want it in my inbox from the broker. Then I know what's going on there, right? And if you can't provide that, then you're hiding something. You're hiding something. When when I was booking my own loads, I didn't always get the rate con sent to me, but I was negotiating the loads. I'd have them sent to the company, and they better have that right at that point. But I know the broker was going to send the correct rate con over to the company. But they won't let up on me, guys. They call a lot and say, you got to come over here and work at Superego, and we've just got this amazingly great deal. And the problem is, here's where I have a problem. If this is fucking legit, right? If this is fucking absolutely legit, they're paying 88% of load, truck and trailer, guys, that you can have the title to. If you get through it, then they don't need to advertise that company. They wouldn't have enough fucking trucks to keep, for us. There would be too many drivers banging down their door to come work for them. They wouldn't need to advertise. They wouldn't need to call. They wouldn't need to do anything. Because once word got around that you are running a trucking company that pays 88% of the load, and the drivers are getting the rate con sent to them, done and over with for every other trucking company out there, because we would be lining up to take that deal, because that's a really good fucking deal. But they won't leave me alone. They won't leave me alone. And here's something that I've heard, allegedly. Now, if you're over at Superego and you are getting rate cons from the broker, not from your company, not from Superego, but if you're getting the rate con directly in your email from the broker, then let me know. Because I'll make another video and be like, yeah, it turns out I'm a complete dipshit. But I want to know that that's actually happening. But I don't think it is. So another thing that I've heard is what they're doing is they're skimming off the top. That's what I've heard, okay? Don't have me murdered, Superego, please. I'm just a guy trying to make a living. This is just what I've heard. So they'll go out and they'll find a load out on the load board, right? Let's say this load pays $2,500, $2,500 load. Then they will send the load over to their driver and they will say, hey, we got you a load paying $2,000. Well, that's already a $500 discrepancy. Now, when they say, hey, we got this load paying $2,000, remember, you're getting 88% of that. So they're going to take their 12% off of that $2,000. What happened to the other $500? That's a good fucking question, right? They just kept it. They just kept it. So they're skimming it off the top already, and then they're taking their 12% after the fact. And this is such... Look, nobody owes us a living, right? Nobody owes it to us to make sure that we're making the money that we need to make. I wish they did. That would be a much nicer world, wouldn't it? Yeah, it sure would be. But I fucking forgot what I was saying again. But yeah, I guess I kind of forgot. But if this was just a really on the up and up, legit type of situation, I would have already been working there. And I would be telling you guys how awesome it is to be getting 88% of the load on my lease purchase. And I'm working on paying off my truck and my trailer, because my God, you're almost a full-fledged business at that point. If you finish off that lease and you've got a truck and a trailer that you've got the title to, you're like this close to being ready to go into business for yourself, you know. But there's just something about it that bothers me. And you get all the horror stories here on YouTube of people going over there going broke. I have seen, excuse me, I have seen a few people here on YouTube that talk about how they're making good money over there and making a good living. And here's what I think about that. If the money you're making is enough to provide you with the lifestyle that you want, then you are making enough money. Then you are making good money, because everybody's financial situation is different, right? So if they're doing that and you're making a good living, that's good. But you only see that every once in a while, that people say that. The huge, vast majority of YouTube videos are people saying how awful it is and how they went broke. Now, remember what I said earlier. You have to take these videos with a grain of salt. And so many of the people making those videos, you can tell, are really young, and they're just being taken advantage of, is the fucking point. That's what I'm trying to say, is it's people being taken advantage of. I cannot, in my head, figure out how this is legit at all. And they're just that one fucking step away from being an actual legit company that's paying what they say they're going to pay. Rate con from the broker, sent to you, but also sent to me. Hey, and if Superego wants to do that, if they want to guarantee me that, then all right, I'll come over there, Superego. I'll come to work for you. But you fucked up, because I asked you one question about rate cons and you were like, nope, we don't do that. You got the wrong guy. I'm not going to work over there. You don't have to call me every day, okay? You don't have to call me every day and say, hey, come work over here at Superego. Because we could have put this all behind us years ago. Years ago, and you would have said, hell yeah, you get the rate cons in your inbox also. I would have been there already. And I'd be happy over there, working there. It's silly. That's why they're using dispatchers, is to hide that from you. Right? And that's why you're not getting the rate cons, is to hide that from you. There is absolutely no reason why a company, I know I'm repeating myself, but who cares? A company running on the spot market even has dispatchers. Hire experienced drivers or lease on experienced drivers that can come in and negotiate their own rates, decide if that money works for them, pick the load going wherever they want to go, and you're paying 88%, you have got a fucking badass trucking company at that point, that you would never have enough trucks, because you would have drivers wanting to go work there. I would, in a fucking heartbeat, guys. If that was the setup of the company, I'm just gonna lease this, I'm gonna call the brokers, I'm going to negotiate my rates. I'm going to go where I want. I'm going to take off whatever time I want. You've got me. That's a perfect trucking company right there, in my opinion. And that I'd be very, very much open to. So anyways, that's the story of how Superego calls me every day for the last 3 years. Anyways, hope there was some information in there. And maybe, hopefully, this keeps some people from making not necessarily a bad decision, but an uninformed decision. Anytime you're leasing and a load comes off the spot market, you want to see the rate con yourself. And if you're not getting that, then you're working at a company that's fucking lying to you or hiding something. See you guys next time. Bye now.